talk to us a little bit, first of all, just as point of interest, what was the driving force going from professional football, the NFL, the biggest stage, to, to then choose a sport that, you grew up in Texas. It's not really the snow capital or the winter sports capital of the world. Although there is a saying in Colorado, if God wanted Texans to ski, they would have made BS white. But that's another podcast.
Yeah.
But I would gather that you had to approach it with this rookie mindset, with this new mind, with this I don't know anything kind of mind. But you also had the history and the lived experience of elite performance. So how did you reconcile that? How did you leverage one and then, work through that process?
When I turned pro at 22 years old, entered the NFL, Seth, it was a dream come true. But by age 26, I've been cut 3 times, lost $2.6 million in NFL contracts, and blew out my knee. So you want to talk about circumstances that can destroy your mindset, right? My first big dream, my first career, multi-million-dollar contracts in the NFL taken away.
Yeah.
And it was at that pivotal moment where once I got healthy and my agent said, Johnny, I can't find any team, no professional football team wants a guy who's been cut 3 times and has a blown out knee, right? And so some unique things started to line up. My agent represented a bobsledder back in the day. And because you can't go to college and be an NCAA level bobsledder, they don't offer that yet. They look for former football guys. And Seth, and another weird thing lined up. My mom, one of her coworkers, used to be a bobsledder back in the day. And so suddenly this foreign sport is on my plate. And I approached it in a way, because you're right, I came from an elite background in football where, okay, when I look at something, I consider, how do we take this to the top? And when I got to the Olympic Training Center, one of the things I did early on, Seth, and I do this now in business, is I intentionally seeked out the Olympic medalists because I wanted to know, what time are they getting up? What time are they lifting? When we go eat in the cafeteria, what are they adding to their plate? What are they not selecting in the cafeteria? And so I've always been very curious around ultra performers, again, whether it's sport or business. And so I think that has been a healthy mindset to have, is this idea of being curious and then taking that curiosity and implementing it into your life.
The access in the Olympic Village, whether it was in Sochi or while you're training and you're in that rarefied air, it's really this special texture of, how each one performs, but each one is unique as well. I mean, there is a baseline and there's some through lines and some commonalities. Were there some things that were revealed to you that you tried but then didn't work for you, or that you initially knew was interesting but wasn't gonna yield or harvest, those results for you, but it was worthwhile observing it anyway?
One of the challenges I had making that switch to Olympic sports as I studied, these Olympians, Seth, is in football, it's a 3-hour game on average, right? And so if your opponent is bigger, stronger, faster, okay, you might be smarter. And so you could wear down that opponent, over the course of 3 hours. Seth, in bobsled, you have 5 seconds to push that bobsled, get in, and your job is over. And so if your opponent, which is another country, Russia, Germany, Italy, Switzerland, if their athletes are bigger, stronger, faster, we've got a big problem. And so when I got to the Olympic Training Center, what I started to understand is that things come down to hundredths of a second. And the reality is, and we know this now, when you look at sports performance, you see the evolution of sport, and we've got sports scientists, we've got just this array of access to data, is that, look, everybody's lifting weights, Seth. Everybody's running. Are you recovering as hard as you're working out? Are you eating the right foods, as disciplined as to your workouts? And so when I got around that and saw that, Seth, what I realized is I need to take this thing to a level I've never been to before. And so there was this constant, I'm testing things, making sure it's right. over and over for the 4 years I was with Team USA.
Right. And I mean, the results are ultimately the indicator of what you're doing works or not. I mean,
That's right.
you can try different things, but the results are the thing that really speaks the most.